Hero, happy Sunday. I'm Sam Shelley, and they call me the Miracle Man. Today, we're going to be diving into fear because I just had a little request here in the YouTube comments. So I'll just put that in the chat and we will put that there. So just remind me what we're talking about. I know that we're going to talk about overcoming fear, managing fear, understanding fear, all these elements of fear we're going to talk about today. So I know Restream is having some issues. So I'm going to go share this out in a few places. So I'm here. I'll be diving into this in a second. I just want to share this out because yeah, I just know there's some issues. Let me see what's going on here. So how is everyone doing? Let me know if you have any questions, any comments, and how I can support you. I'm looking for this video so I can share it out. There it is. Let me share this. Share it to a group. Share it to hit trash. Okay, good there. Okay, perfect. All right, so I just shared out into the group. Okay, perfect. All right, so welcome. Yeah, I'm Sam Shelley. We're going to be talking about fear today, but I don't like to just talk about a topic on Sundays. I would like to give you a practice as well. Like it's one thing to intellectualize, it's another to completely to embody, to really understand. So let's dive into this now. So what is fear? Well, fear is a safety mechanism for the body to keep you safe. Most of the time in the past, fear was there to keep us alive, essentially, and it's still there to keep us alive. So if you're walking in a park, maybe a neighborhood, you're just doing something and something feels off or not quite right. That's your intuition saying, hey, there's danger present here. It's time to move to a different location. It's that deep sense of really trying to keep yourself safe. What we really need to be mindful of is when fear is just the mind doing what the mind does, projecting the worst case scenario and making it seem real. So maybe you're afraid that you can't pay your bills, or the fear of not having the right job, not having the right relationship. Like every aspect of fear is basically the mind projecting the worst case scenario, even though it's not based on truth. Truth being that spirit within you. That's the truth, is right here. The mind is always guessing. So if your mind is guessing, that's where the fear is mostly coming from. But we just want to separate ourselves from actual danger and perceived danger. The perceived danger is coming from the mind. We have to realize the mind's worried about this or that or that, and it manifests as fear. So how do we really manage this fear and overcome this fear to see that it's simply a mental story? And this is what I frequently talk about, is that we're either in the story or we're right here in this moment. Like, where are your feet? Where are your hands? What do you see? What do you touch? That's basically how you overcome any of these mental stories, whether it's fear, worry, anxiety. It's always about being back into this moment. So you have to realize that there's either love or fear, and the mind has a tendency toward fear because that's the default mode for the mind, that something is going to go wrong, like the fear of public speaking. You're worried about people judging you, messing up your words, whatever it may be, but it's just a story. You haven't actually even given that talk yet or that presentation. And the mind is future, future guessing. And we just need to let all that go. And it really doesn't matter what people think of you. That's another thing that comes with fear. It's really being too attached to what people think of you. We have to realize that we're all on our own unique spiritual journey. They're not sitting around all day just judging you and criticizing you. Maybe in that moment when they see you, but the rest of the day you're not even in their thought stream if you're doing public speaking. And we have to realize too, we're all perfect spirit. Wherever you look, there's perfect spirit. So you're really speaking to yourself on the absolute level. And you really don't worry about judging and all this stuff. So, hey, Dally. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for joining me today. So that's what we really have to understand, that fear is simply a projection, imagining the worst case scenario. But what's interesting, though, if you're imagining the worst case scenario, the worst possible outcome, we have to realize the power of our words to direct consciousness. Oh, you're worried about this. You're giving this a lot of attention. So you must want this. Then you will create that reality. You will create that reality. So you need to realize what you focus on expands. So the universe is always saying yes to you. So if you're always in a state of worried and something that's worried about, maybe about income, not having enough income, your mind's going to say, oh, you like this lack of income sense. Okay, let's give you more of that. Because the universe is always saying yes to you. Yeah, Lisa makes a comment here. Well, let's talk about this, because this is pretty good. Yeah, about the practice. It's hard work, especially when you experience trauma. When you do the practice, it's so good for your mind and soul. Well, one of the things we do really mindful of first is the language that we're using of hard work. What does that trigger for you? To me, it seems like we like digging ditches all day or some kind of physical intensive labor. It's just simply the practice. We want to let go of any kind of labels like that because there's stories behind it. That's why I'm not a big fan of the words like meditation. It implies a certain story, or healing implies a certain story. Hard work implies a story, and we want to let go of all these stories. We just say it's just a practice. There goes that mind again. Where are my feet? Where are my hands? Mind thinking. You're not judging yourself. You're not criticizing yourself. You're not getting frustrated with yourself because the mind thinks. So you just simply just have to pull it back to this moment. Where are my feet? Where are my hands? What am I touching? Seeing, and just constantly pulling yourself back. But what the beauty is, every time you pull yourself back, you're putting a gap into the thought stream. You're breaking that cycle of thought. And every cycle of thought that you stop is another glimpse of inner peace. So the more gaps, the more peace. Yeah, that's really, at least it's really a gentle practice. That's really what you want to call it. It's just you really want to be gentle with ourselves. That life is hard enough, if you will. We don't need to make it more difficult with all these rules, all these restrictions, all these regulations. And that's what I see a lot in the spiritual community, is a lot of regulations, rules, dogma, way to do things. This is why I say I was fortunate to never have a spiritual teacher. I just learned a skilled relaxation process. There goes the mind. Where are my feet? But it took me 2 weeks to figure out that I have thoughts, but I'm not my thoughts. Because I was sitting there like mind thinking, stop mind thinking, stop mind thinking, stop mind. No, it's thoughts chasing thoughts. So it's really like, there goes mind thinking. Okay, come back to this moment. It's really this simple. And that's what I'm just trying to educate people, that it is this simple, that we need to let go of any rules. The language that we're using has stories implied. Hard work. This is difficult. This is challenging. No, it's just the current experience. And we can move through any challenge, any experience, one small step at a time, or one pebble at a time, to move that mountain. One little step, one little step, one little step. But the mind wants to take this huge bite, wants to know the next 5, 6 steps, and really makes it overwhelming. It makes it seem too difficult because the mind is like trying to tackle the whole thing as opposed to breaking it down. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. These little small pieces you can do, but these big, big obstacles, it's too much for the mind. It creates overwhelm. It creates stress. It creates a lot of fear too, that you're not going to be able to do this. And it's too big of a leap for the mind, but we just realize, break it all down to small steps. That's all that's required. So fear is basically the mind just on overdrive, expecting the worst possible outcome. We got to reprogram the mind, reteach the mind that life is good, life is positive, life is uplifting, life is happening for my growth. And that's the most important thing. Yeah, so Dal was saying overcome fears forces us to learn and embracing risk. Well, once again, risk is another one of those words that have lots of stories behind it. So fears are a practice to say, oh, fear's coming up. That's mind thinking, mind projecting. I'm feeling into my environment. I'm not in physical danger. So it's a mind projecting the worst case outcome. Mind thinking back to this moment. Mind thinking, coming back to this moment. So fear is really an awareness tool that I'm lost in fear. Let me come back. Even if it's 10 or 15 minutes later that you've been in this fear state, or a month, a year, whatever it happens to be, just break it once. Then break it when you notice, and not judge, not criticize if you're caught in the fear loop. But once you break that cycle once, then fear starts to lose its grip over you. It starts losing that strength. All right, let's dive into a little practice on clearing fear. So I'm going to put on some ambient music, which is nice with Restream I like. So I don't have to worry about like copyright rules and all that stuff on Facebook. So we'll just select that and we'll just let this come up. Okay, perfect. So now we're just going to do a practice. First thing I want to talk about though is meditation. We don't need to make meditation complex. There's no rules, there's no restrictions, there's no proper way to meditate. Meditate has so many stories attached to it. We just simply want to see it as a relaxation process. Skilled relaxation, that's all we're doing today. Mind thinking, coming back to here. Mind thinking, back to here. Simple. So now to overcome these fears. Okay, what's coming to me to talk about today to set the intention for this fear. The fear of not being liked, fear of not being approved, fear of not being good enough, for not measuring up. So we're just going to sit here, relax, allowing the eyes to close to remove the external stimulations. The mind's busy enough. We don't need to give it even more things to create distractions. So we gently close our eyes and we relax, letting go of any rules on how we have to sit, breathe, hold our hands. The only suggestion that we have, if you notice you fall asleep during this relaxation, then sit on the edge of a chair or the bed, for this falling sensation will bring you back into the moment. Falling asleep during practice is a mind's defense mechanism. It doesn't want to give up control. And the whole point of the skilled relaxation is getting the mind under control and away from the runaway freight train of disaster, of mayhem, of all this fear. Another thing we talk too about fear, people telling you how to protect yourself is another one, that you have to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. But does this resonate with you? Does it feel like a false fear that they're trying to instill within you? So fear has many flavors as we continue to relax with the eyes closed. We let go of any judgment, any criticism. If the mind starts to get lost in thoughts, when you notice you're lost, no judgment, no criticism, no beating yourself up, no calling yourself a moron, idiot, or whatever. We let go of any of those words to realize that we are perfect spirit, the soul, the consciousness within us. that is beyond the human experience, the place of knowing that all is well. So we notice the fears that are coming up. I'm afraid to get this shot. I'm afraid to go for this job. I'm afraid to speak in public. I'm afraid to stand up for myself. Just notice that this is all mind overthinking. Just the overthinking mind is creating the fear state. It's taking you from the place of love, from perfect spirit, from knowing all is well. It's the place of division, of separation. And sometimes fear will grab you and isolate you, making you forget that you are one with all that is. But when you notice yourself in that state, simply coming back to the sounds that you're hearing, your feet on the ground, just observing your sensations in this body. So as we're sitting here right now, imagine you're mentally touching your hand with your mind. You're not physically touching your hand, but you're mentally touching it. So just focus your attention on touching your hand and really focus on your hand. As you focus on it, you may notice some heat. You may notice some tingling. You may notice the energy within you. Because we are energy, we are light, we are heat. We are the creative force of the universe. This is the real us. It's just a little interesting practice to do. Just mentally visualizing yourself touching your hand, your feet, your knee, your face. And just notice the sensations you feel when you direct your attention into those areas. This is another way to know who you truly are, beyond the stories, beyond the labels, that we're all consciousness, we're all energy, trying to do our best in this moment. Just notice how we overcomplicate things. Notice how our language creates more difficulties. Hard work, challenges, difficulties. They don't like me. That's another large fear. They don't like me. They don't approve of me. And ask yourself, why does this matter? I'm perfect spirit. They're perfect spirit. We're all doing our best. This is my spiritual journey. That's their spiritual journey. Their opinion of me is none of my concern, for I know this is simply their head trash projecting onto me, and I don't allow them to take my power, for I am the one perfect spirit, as they are spirit as well. And we're all on our unique journey, and we continue to relax. We continue to let go, to disconnect from the stories, the labels, the exterior world that has programmed us in such a way that does not serve our greatest interest. So we're just continuing to relax. Really dive into that peace that is you, diving below the fear, below those stories, below those beliefs, those opinions, diving into the depths of you to see that it's actually an ascension. We're actually diving deeper, a descension into spirit. We're descending deeper and deeper into spirit, knowing yourself as peace and embodying this peace, so the outside world no longer holds power of you. Fear no longer grips you. Because the more you know peace, the more you know your own strength, your own power, and focusing on body parts will remind you that you are this infinite strength, that you are this infinite energy. If you're not quite sensing that energy that way, you can put your two hands out, palms facing each other, and just move your hands in and out from each other. So and just feel the energy going between the hands. Feel like pushing and pulling. There's all sorts of practices you can do to sense energy, to really help you remember who you are outside of mental thinking. Feeling yourself deeply at peace, feeling your infinite strength, the infinite possibilities, the infinity of life. That when this body fades away, the spirit remains. So life is infinite. This body is not. But you are life itself. You were never born and you will never die. You just exist in this here and now. As we start drifting back into this moment, just drifting back to this moment, maybe rubbing your hands, noticing that, I have a body. Let's go have this human experience. The mind gets into all these stories about our life purpose. But if there's any purpose, it's to realize you're alive, that you're here for the human experience, and all the difficulties, the pain, the suffering, the joy, the happiness. It's just part of that human experience. But it does not need to define us. Yes, Lisa, all beings are eternal because we are life itself. Whether we're in body or not in body, we're still alive. And we can see this through all the mediums that speak to the other side. They can share words they wouldn't possibly know because they're still here. They're just in the invisible. So I'm here if there's any questions, anything we want to talk about today, anything we want to address. I also have my shaman's deck nearby as well. One thing I need to talk about that's been coming to me lately, if we can't envision an improved life, then an improved life will never come. That if we can't see it, like we're stuck in our drama, we can't see a better future, if you will, then a better future will never come because we're co-creating our reality. If you don't see the brightness ahead, then you'll be stuck with your darkness, your thoughts. So I'll be live tomorrow with soul messages, but I'm just here if there's any questions, if anyone wants a little insight into what's going on, I'm here. And then, I think it's the live tomorrow, then live next Sunday. And I also do videos on TikTok, and they're getting a lot of activity. I'm seeing lots of activity increasing. TikTok improved it so I can do 3-minute videos, and my 3-minute videos are actually doing extremely well. So Dal is asking how to learn with a certain level of uncertainty in our life. Well, that is the challenge of the human experience, being okay with not knowing. And the way you're okay with not knowing is trusting yourself, believing, knowing that you are perfect spirit, Regardless of what's happening in the exterior, you are perfect spirit, and everything is unfolding as it needs to unfold. That there are no mistakes in the universe. Zero mistakes. Because everything is helping us grow in ways we cannot possibly understand. Okay, let me see Lisa's. Let me see what I'm feeling for Lisa here. I'm just feeling 2 cards here, Lisa. Let's see where we can go with these 2 cards. Oh wow, love Lisa. What a great message for you, Lisa. You're getting the Hunter of Death, the transformation card. You transform when you listen to the spirit of truth within you. That's transformation. You transform when you listen to your truth. You listen and trust and believe the real you, the insights that come from here. You never transform from the mind. That's always a temporary situation. Permanent, lasting transformation comes when this goes away and you live from here, live from the heart. I'm glad you liked it, Lisa. That was the perfect message for today. We all transform when we listen to our truth. Truth here, not the perceived truth. And we have to realize, too, facts, information is not truth. Because we can look through history and see where facts have changed. And like blood results are a good example. It's just information. They don't define you. But you can get really hung up on blood results and make your life misery. Or just say, it's just data. I'll change things. So that was my case, My blood work is excellent right now, and it wasn't that way for decades. Yeah, so Lisa, I did something different today, these energy experiences. I thought that'd be interesting to have, and actually talk about this in my first book, which you can get in the Head Trash Anonymous group. It's a file there. You can just download it. I actually talk about that in my first book, I Don't Dwell, about feeling energy, putting your hands here in front of your eyes are closed, and you're in presence. If you're going in and out, you can feel the push and pull of energy when you're in this deep space. Or if you mentally touch your hand when you're in that space, you'll feel the heat, you'll feel the aliveness. It's rather interesting to help you remind you who you are. Energy, spirit, consciousness. All right, I'm here for another moment, and I'll go get some lunch and enjoy the day. So how is everyone nurturing themselves? Before I went on here live, I did my meditation, I did my yoga. I'll probably read some today and enjoy life. I'm always, trying to enjoy life to the best of my ability. Yeah, I'm really thirsty too, Lisa. Yeah, I can't get. I'm going to consume a gallon of water, I think, after this. I'm extremely thirsty. Well, I think it's also from yoga. Lots of twisting in yoga today, which will wring you out. But drinking is good, though. But just imagine, you can take this energy, between your hands, and you can put it someplace. And you can see it sending love. Like if you're dealing with a headache, you can just send yourself this love in that place of peace. And when I do that, I just feel the waves of energy just pouring through. And that's what I see, like with Reiki and all this training. Do we really need that? Because there's only one ultimate energy. If we learn to direct this one energy, then is it really necessary? Does the term Reiki itself create separation from the one? Just musings I just have about this other energy healing. It seems like a division, a smaller form of the one energy, if you're consciously trying to do these practices. But my reality is different than most. I understand. I see the world differently. Nothing is solid to me anymore. That's one of the things that happened when I healed. Nothing is solid. Everything vibrates. I think Picasso talked about this too, the shimmer that he saw on things, the aura. But I don't really see auras, but I do see the vibrations. So it's a little different. All right, I've been okay. Dal was asking for some cards. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. I see 5 people watching here, so if you have questions, let me know. I'm here, or I can just do my random musings that I just ponder about all day. So for Dalway, I felt 3 cards for Dalway. Let's take a look. Oh wow! Ancestor memory, a message from a past loved one. I'm getting it right away. This is your father. I'm just feeling right away. It's from your father. And what he's basically saying, you're facing challenges right now. Your mind's overthinking things. You're facing some challenges. You're overthinking things is really clear. And I'm getting the dreams card. I think he's going to be coming to you in dreams, place when you relax. And just really give some insights on how to move through these challenges. That's what I'm feeling on that message there, that this is definitely your father. He's telling you to let go of the challenges and just allow the wisdom within you. All right, well, I'm heading off for now. So I'll see everyone tomorrow for soul messages. Have a great day. Take good care of yourself. Bye for now.